Ever feel like you're just racing towards the finish line on projects? Like you're not even sure if you're working on the right things.
Just got to get it done, right?
Right. But today, we're ditching that all-or-nothing mindset and diving into something way more effective, delivering value every step of the way.
It's not just about speed. It's about making the journey just as rewarding as actually reaching the destination.
I like that. So we're talking about enjoying the journey, not just the destination.
Exactly. Think about it. Wouldn't you rather have a delicious meal with appetizers along the way instead of waiting hours for one big plate at the end?
Okay, now I'm hungry. But seriously, how do we bring this incremental delivery idea to life in our projects?
It all comes down to breaking the project into smaller, more manageable chunks, each delivering a piece of value.
So it's like instead of tackling the whole elephant at once, we're taking smaller bites.
Exactly. Imagine you're building a software application. Instead of waiting for the entire thing to be finished before you get any feedback, you deliver one core feature early on.
Okay, I see. Something users can actually test and give feedback on right away.
Exactly. And because you're getting that feedback early, you can incorporate it into the rest of the development process.
So we can make course corrections along the way instead of having to backtrack later on.
And that right there is one of the biggest benefits of incremental delivery, reducing risk.
Makes sense. We're basically getting a sneak peek of the movie and giving feedback before the premiere, right? But what happens when the studio decides to change the ending halfway through filming? How do we make sure our projects adapt to those changes?
That's where the second key component comes in. Continuously examining the business value throughout the project lifecycle. Business value isn't static, it's constantly evolving.
So our goals might change, the market might shift. It's like those sand dunes in the desert, always shifting and changing with the wind.
Exactly. And that's why we can't just set our sights on a goal and expect it to stay put.
So how do we keep our projects from getting lost in those ever-changing sands? How do we stay on track?
Think of value tracking metrics as our compass and map in this ever-changing landscape. To put it simply, these are measurable data points that tell us if we're heading in the right direction to achieve our objectives.
Could you give an example of what one of those metrics might look like?
Sure. Let's say your project aims to increase website traffic.
Okay, pretty common goal.
Right. So a value tracking metric in this case could be the number of visitors to the website or the amount of time they spend on the site.
Okay, I see. We're tracking actual data that tells us if we're making progress towards our goal. But it's not like we're navigating this alone, right? We have stakeholders, clients, team members, all involved.
Absolutely. And that's why regular check-ins with stakeholders are crucial. We need to ensure everyone is still on the same page, that our understanding of the business value aligns with theirs, and that we can adjust our course if needed.
It's like a mid-flight check. We're making sure we're still heading in the right direction.
Exactly. Now, all of this sounds incredibly efficient, but I can imagine a team hearing this and feeling a bit overwhelmed. How do we make sure we're not just adding more to their plates?
That's a really good point. We don't want to swap one stressful approach for another.
Exactly. And that's where the beauty of the minimum viable product, or MVP, comes into play, coupled with breaking down those seemingly massive tasks into smaller, more manageable ones.
Okay, break down the MVP for me. I feel like that's a term that gets thrown around a lot.
You're right. It's about identifying the core components that are absolutely necessary to deliver value quickly. Think of it like launching a simple satellite into orbit before aiming for the whole International Space Station.
Okay, so we're starting smaller, proving the concept, before we invest in building something massive.
Exactly. And to build that satellite, or in our case, the MVP, we need to subdivide those complex tasks into manageable chunks. It's like baking a cake. Imagine trying to bake a cake by throwing all the ingredients in at once, a recipe for disaster, right?
Sounds messy.
Exactly. So instead, we break it down, mix the batter, preheat the oven, bake, and then frost. Each step builds on the previous one, leading to a delicious outcome.
And we can apply that same logic to our projects. Speaking of recipes and processes, how do those project management buzzwords like Scrum or Kanban fit into this whole picture?
Think of Scrum and Kanban as our trusty sous chefs, providing frameworks for managing those smaller tasks efficiently.
Okay, I like that.
With Kanban, for example, we can visualize our project on a board, moving those bite-sized tasks from to-do to doing to done. This visual representation keeps everyone aligned and helps us deliver value consistently.
It's like having a clear recipe and a well-organized kitchen. So to wrap up, by embracing incremental delivery, tracking our progress with those value metrics, and focusing on that MVP, We set ourselves up for a smoother, more successful project journey.
Exactly. We create a continuous cycle of delivering value, gathering feedback, and adapting to change. It's about making projects less about stressful deadlines and more about celebrating those wins along the way.
Now, for all our listeners, here's a little challenge to take with you today. Think about a current project you're working on. It could even be something as simple as organizing your kitchen. How could you apply just one of these principles, maybe try that MVP approach, to make things smoother and more efficient? Until next time.